The At Your Instep podcast is brought to you by ComicTown. Check them out at www.worldofcomictown.com or search for ComicTown Gaming Center on Facebook. Hello, and welcome to At Your Instep. My name is Morgan. I'm here with Dave.
Hello.
And Mike.
Hello.
And we have another fun-filled episode for you folks this week. We have the Pro Tour coming up this weekend, which is going to be the main focus of our show today. But we definitely want to make sure we touch on anything else that has happened over this past week, and definitely want to take a look here, dive into just a couple of community things, mainly focusing on competitive this week, like I said, and the Pro Tour, and do our typical closing stuff as well. But definitely a lot to talk about. So let's get right in. So first and foremost, we definitely want to talk about the state of the Magic Online article that came out today, not right as we speak, but earlier in the morning, and they typically these have either been a huge litany of information or just kind of little short footnotes into kind of what's happening with Magic. And with this one, we did get one tidbit that we wanted to share and kind of show off, which is that starting with Amaket and starting with Amaket, the Monday after the pre-release, Magic Online events will start. And then product will actually go on sale simultaneously online with paper product, which is a huge leap forward, basically, with what we've seen in previous set releases. This is what people have been crying for. People have been crying for a smaller window between paper product and online product.
I mean, we got a little bit of that with Aether Revolt being released earlier than it used to, and I think that was generally positive in the community. So they're just like, I guess we'll just go all the way and just, I don't know. It makes sense. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense for people wanting to test for the Pro Tour. It makes sense just for people that maybe are, Magic Online only or Magic Online centric. I imagine that, streamers must love this because there's that weird, in between where you don't have the new set, but you cannot stand drafting the old set. And lately they've been filling that gap with Cube, which has been great. And they could still do that. There's still plenty of time towards the tail end of a set where people just don't want to draft it anymore, and they want a new flavor. They want a new drug.
Wow. Thank you, Huey Lewis.
Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome. And so I still think there's still opportunity for that, but definitely speeding up the process at which sets become available online is going to be good overall for the product.
I'd be interested to see when they put up Cube now, because it has been during those weird times where Magic Online is waiting, and that's generally when I'm logging on is when Cube is there. So they haven't announced what they're going to do with that, but that's what interests me most about that.
I think this also just allows a lot of Magic product purchases definitely fall under that impulse buy category. You know what I mean? Grinders buy singles. You know what I mean? But the person who comes into the store and wants to buy packs, right, and then turn around, goes home at night and goes, "Oh man, I just want to keep playing Magic. I wish Magic Online had this set already," but they don't. You now have a chance to capture those people too, who it's "No, young sir, you can. It's here for you." Yeah,
exactly. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a really smart move on them. And that was pretty much the biggest announcement to come out of the article, from what I've been told.
It's kind of sad how big of an announcement that is.
I mean,
but
I agree. It's definitely something that seems to not be that big of a deal, but for us, for our little community, it certainly is.
Could you try explaining that to another form of company? Hey, we made a major advancement this week, actually. Oh, what was that? Well, we have a paper release and a digital release, and we've aligned them.
Yeah, so
they weren't before? No, never actually. Oh,
I see.
And this is an achievement. Yes.
Oh, how long has this program been out?
20 years.
A long
laughing.
Time.
Stop laughing at us.
A long time.
It's close to 20 years at this point, right?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not like 100% on that.
Yeah,
crazy.
I think so.
I know they had their 15 within my recent memory, so we're getting. If it isn't 20 already, we're getting there, which is cool because it still kind of looks like a game from 1997. So it's kind of nice.
Oh yeah.
You know what? There are times when I've considered, turning on the original StarCraft instead of playing Magic Online, and we're really talking similar time frames. So, just saying.
Yeah. And there was a little bit of talk of, the new digital studio that they have and the next digital Magic product, but nothing really concrete there. Elaine Chase later came out and said that Magic Online isn't really going anywhere, that they expect to have a very long livelihood ahead of it, which is something that you would expect them to say to not create market panic on Magic Online, regardless of whether that's true or not. There are many things that companies say, especially like game companies with their consoles, where they're like, "Oh no, we foresee this having a very long livelihood after this."
Hashtag Nintendo Switch.
And other things happening that cause them to maybe not have that livelihood. So while this may stabilize the market for now, I am still a little bit skeptical of the statement.
I'm actually not. I think they would, even if they did come out with something different, they would go out of their way to continue supporting Magic Online, because one thing that Wizards as a company has done has been very, very defensive of their statements that have actionable intent from people who have money invested. Exhibit A being the reserve list, right? Like, we're going to protect your, so when she says a statement like, don't worry, Magic Online has a long life ahead of it, and all these people have this amount of money invested in it, which isn't normally true, even in things like video game consoles and that sort of thing, because you purchase it, but then you have it. It's not, it's not something that you are continually, like, creating a functioning economy on. You know what I mean? So I think that if she says that, and then 2 months from now you see something like, oh, okay, well, actually, we've actually come up with something much better than Magic Online, it's out of here, you might see actual reasonable action taken against them.
Yeah, but see, it's not going to be one of those things that's 2 months. It depends on what you think is like a long livelihood, especially when you're making statements like investment. Do you think that it is what would be your definition of this continuing to be a product?
I don't think Magic Online goes away.
Ever?
No.
Then I think that you're going to then you're just going to split your market at that point in time. You're going to split your market.
They've been doing it for 20 years. I think the thing that really has caused this, reading articles by like Chase Andres is one who's a couple times now written about what he thinks a new Magic client would look like, and both times he's done this, he's distinctly described games that aren't Magic. And there's a number of writers who have done this, who they've sort of wondered what a new version of it would look like, and there very well could be a new version of Magic that is more streamable, that is rules reduced, rules light, etc. But I don't think even if that exists that they'll ever stop supporting Magic Online, because the game is what, we've said this before on here, but Magic Online is so popular because of the game. It's a horrific program. It's had horrible rollouts for, I'm going to keep saying this, decades now. That hasn't changed. The reason it continues to make money is because it is the best possible game, not the best possible client. So I think I take that at face value. Even if they came out with here's our competitor to Hearthstone, I think even then Magic Online continues to exist. And I think people like myself would probably play both. Because the light version might be fun, it might be fun to watch, etc., but I still just want to play Magic.
So I guess that I find that truly disappointing. Then I find that truly disappointing that that Magic Digital Next, whatever this next thing they're working on, isn't just a better Magic client. Isn't just a.
Well, I think it is a better Magic client. I think the fear that people are having is that for some reason the next version of it won't be Magic. If it's just a better Magic client, then people's collections port, so it doesn't matter.
Theoretically.
So the only reason there's market instability is because of people saying that it's going to be a different type of game.
Yeah, I think that if it's a different type of game, then it's not going to.
It's not Magic.
It's not going to solve any of the problems.
No.
You're literally investing all this money to create a new game that you maybe uses Magic assets, Magic terminology, basic Magic principles, but isn't Magic or isn't as complex and engaging as Magic can be. And you're investing all this money for a game that another game that people have to invest money into, and then you have investments in both clients, and if you're playing paper, then 3. So it's like you're literally you are maybe recouping some of that cost by getting new people into it and then like hooking them in and getting them deeper into Magic, but just make a good client that you can play on your on anything. Like, just do that, Wizards. Don't make a new game. And I know that that's pure conjecture, people saying that that's what it would be, but I would find it truly disappointing if it wasn't. And Mike said much of the same. Like, just make a good client. Don't make a garbage client that only plays on Windows. Like, if you can say that this will play on a tablet, like an Android tablet, or an iPad, or heck, if you could say that it'll play on like a Mac, like a iBook, or a MacBook or what have you, you're instantly increasing your customer base. So it's like, come on.
I hope it plays on actual apples.
Yeah, just apples. So we bite into it.
Yeah, exactly. You just bite right into the game.
Got that Fuji? Got that Granny Smith?
Oh man, you can put one for each color of Magic. Okay, maybe not.
Don't eat the black apples.
Yeah, it's like
they might be rotted.
Is that like the poison one that the witch gave Snow White?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. If in the best part, the blue apple is just in your mind. It's your mind apple.
Your inner apple.
Your inner apple. Anyway, it's hard to say. I don't think Magic like Digital Next is going to be out anytime soon, but that's my opinion. I think it's like a 2018 thing, or even later than that. So
it'll probably come out right when the movie does.
Yeah, that old movie there. Next, and last on our community segment is a little sort of thing that happened at GP Prague on Friday before the actual GP kicked off. Apparently, someone was having a really good side event draft and lit the place on fire.
Not really. But.
Nah. There was a fire at the actual event hall where they had the event on Friday, which caused an evacuation. It was in the food court area, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, this is a catering stand. Caught fire. Ooh. And like the whole side of the building kind of melted up. So
yeah, and this caused evacuation. This caused like the hall to close on Friday. So that might have been a little bit disappointing for people trying to do like last chance events or something like that, or any event happening on Friday. I don't know if the tournament organizer had like a side events badge or anything like that, but obviously no one was hurt from what I understand. No reported injuries from what I've seen. Correct me if I'm wrong, Internet. I know you will. But yeah, just a crazy happening that happened over the weekend. So anyone that does go to Magic tournaments, be safe. And if you do have to evacuate, do it so in a calmly manner, and you'll be all right. It'll be okay.
This is reminiscent of there was a pro tour that had a flood where like the tournament hall flooded, I think, and wiped out day one. This was, I don't know, 12 years ago.
Many moons ago. I've heard of the story.
Yeah. But yeah, stuff happens.
That is true.
What you can do, but I mean, at least the GP was able to go off without a hitch. Other than that,
yes, that's true. Yeah, there's no and nothing that happened that caused Saturday actually be stalled or anything like that. So, but that is, yeah, that is that for community. Before we hop into our competitive segment, I do want to give a shout out to our lovely sponsor, Comic Town. Not qualified for the Pro Tour? That's okay, because Comic Town has yet another weekend of competitive events to play in. So if you're not in Dublin already, it's okay. You could still play Magic this weekend. This Saturday, February 4th, Comic Town will be hosting the Ohio Star City Games Regional Championships. It'll be modern. It'll be held at the Crown Plaza in Dublin, Ohio. It'll be $40 entry fee, and players meetings at 10 a.m. It'll be a $5K prize pool to pay down the top 32. Now, this event is capped at 260 players. Last time I checked, there's about 120 something tickets left that you could purchase as far as that goes. Now, I don't know how many, if all the slots are available for pre-reg or not, if there's some hole held at the door. I would imagine there aren't, so I would say if you could pre-register, do so at post-haste. And then the first 200 will actually get the playmat, which is an awesome playmat token. I have to say, like, the art on this, like, obviously, typically, if I use a playmat, I'm going to be using my At Your Instead playmat because, branding. But I'm keeping this playmat just because the art's so sick, even though I do not know how I will ever use it, except for maybe a mouse pad. But
Cube Knight.
Cube Knight. Yeah. But yeah, great art on the playmat. So again, you can check out Comic Town Gaming Center on Facebook. Find the event, and the event has a link to Eventbrite that you can use to pre-register for the event. So I will be there. Dave will hopefully be there if pre-reg doesn't sell out before he gets to be able to pre-reg to it. And we'll be, playing some moderns.
I just noticed that at the beginning of this, you said, "Hey, if you aren't in Dublin, then go to Dublin."
Yeah,
That's
so
if you're not in Dublin, Ireland,
you can still play in
go to
Dublin.
Dublin, Ohio.
They're a little bit different.
They are sister cities.
Sure,
Apparently.
yes. Great. That makes sense. But one's a little bit less...
A strange sister city?
Yeah. Something that.
Like one of them doesn't speak of the other very often.
Oh, no, not at all. But yeah, it's right in my neck of the woods. I'm very happy. This is around basically they're around the corner for me, so I'm pretty okay with it.
We got a carpool?
I mean, probably not, because I'm probably going to scrub out want to leave, so...
You need to stay and play. We are officially in testing for Baltimore mode. You are no longer allowed to treat this lightly. I mean that very seriously. You have to play.
All right.
Learn your deck. If you're gonna play our modern head, learn your deck.
Hey, and payouts to top 64 at least for SCG points. So top 32.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Need all them SCG points.
Yeah, top 32 gets money, and top 64 gets 3 SCG points.
No, I'll play, but I don't want to carpool.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to go to work Saturday.
Wow, that's
Boo.
lame.
It's rough because I don't work a lot of Saturdays, but it'll be fun just the same. Like what I'm doing is fun, but like I'm sad I don't get to go to this.
Yeah, it's rough. But on Sunday though, there's another chance to play some modern. This will be at Comic Town. They will be hosting a Star City Games IQ.
I think that one's standard.
No, stop it! You're wrong. You've been wrong both times.
Dude.
I thought that one
I don't know
was
what to
actually
tell you, man.
modern.
I changed
This one's standard. Oh, you changed it, so I didn't mess it up.
No, you had it as standard. I just changed it to modern while you guys were talking.
Oh yeah, then I said it right.
You said it right. No, Dave was going to try. Dave goes, I'm pretty sure this is No.
No,
Okay.
this one is modern.
All right. My bad.
Like I double checked it. I was like, no,
Bad at your
for
job,
sure,
Dave.
this is modern. And this one will be actually at the Comic Town location. It is a Star City Games IQ, and 10 a.m. player meeting. Excuse me. And what's the prize pool? Is it going to be one?
It's 2K, right?
Is it a 2K? Because the last one was 1K.
Was it 1K? I don't know, man.
The one I went to on Sunday was a 1K.
Okay, then it's the same one. That's
All
just
right.
how they...
It's
Then I'm going to assume it's a
1K.
1K payout for this IQ.
Yeah, it's a 1K payout.
I'll be honest, I'm a lot more interested in regionals than I am with this one because that's the one I'm going to. So.
No, fair enough.
sorry.
I understand.
I'm sorry.
If
For everybody listening, you should go to regionals instead. But if you
Well,
can't,
no,
then, if
wait.
you can't, then go to this one.
Go to both.
We're talking about sponsored events from the
Go to
from our-
both.
Go to both.
Go to both.
Dave, you're a monster.
That's true. But if you could only pick one, then the 5K is better than 1K.
Yes,
Saying.
5 is
Just
better
saying.
than 1 technically,
That's-
but some people
just
have
saying.
planned Saturday.
Some people got to work.
Some people can't make it to Dublin, or they hate Dublin as a city
Yeah.
because they like the real Dublin and they don't out of solidarity.
No substitutions.
By the way, I'm really sad that I'm not back in Ireland for this pro tour.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I went to the last one. Humble brags.
Anyway,
It was a good time.
I do want to mention before we move on out of this, I'm going to once again plug the Riley Overhart Memorial Tournament. They have actually set up pre-registration as well through an Eventbrite site, which is through the Facebook event, and it's only the event's only $10, which is great. The best part about it is they keep talking about they encourage players to borrow modern decks because that is what Riley did apparently, was borrow a lot of decks. So I really love the spirit of this. So you have actually posts on the Facebook event where people are like, hey, can I borrow a deck? I was like, this is great. So just a reminder, that is Saturday, February 12th. And if you can go to it, it's great. And if you want to register, you can.
yeah. Moving on. Let's jump into the competitive segment. So we're going to touch on a couple of GPs because they were limited and we don't really cover that very often or very well. So first, GP Prague. It was won by Yusuf Kamal Vefa. And he defeated Apollo Vitor Damado Rosa in the finals.
I know you said Paulo, but I heard Apollo, and I was just like...
Apollo Creed in the finals.
This was Rocky 2?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
So yeah, congratulations to you, sir. I mean, beating Paulo is probably like a pretty awesome way to go out and win the tournament, right? Yeah.
Also,
in the finals.
Score one for the older guys.
Oh,
so apparently he's 43.
Nice.
Which, like, hey, I'm closer to 43 than I am 23. So, yeah,
fair enough.
Going.
Next up is GP San Jose. It was won by John Asbach, who 3-0-6-0 the top 8 on his way to the GP title, that's hot. That's a good way to win a GP. Just like, I ain't taking no match losses. Gonna sweep the whole thing up. So congrats to him. The bigger tournament not the bigger tournament, but the bulk of what we're going to be talking about tournament-wise is probably the Open that happened in Richmond. And it was a standard Open. It was won by former Star City Games Invitational champion Dylan Donegan, the 1/1 red elemental token himself, playing Jeskai Sahili. And then, Todd Anderson earned his 31st Star City Games Open top 8. Very impressive.
It's absurd.
That is absurd. One more, and he can just have
So he can actually make one of these like top 32.
That is just all his decks,
brackets, and all his decks.
Yeah, that's pretty great. And then, shout out to Brendan DeCandio. Was going for the three-peat. Was in first place after day one at 8-1, but fell off on day 2, which is unfortunate. But man, three-peat would have been sweet.
Yeah, he was the last undefeated. So he was 8-0 on day 1, lost the last round, but it was still, in first place.
Yeah, very impressive.
And then I think he lost like 3 in a row to start day 2, which was awful for him. But I mean, obviously, it's still a pretty impressive run to have basically two Open wins in a row, and then a day 1, first place. I guess so. Does that count as 2.5? I don't know. We'll give him the half a win on that.
No.
So
day 1.
Obviously, we know that Dylan won with Jeskai Sahili. He defeated 4-color Sahili, piloted by Jeffrey Ashkin. And then third and fourth place third is Jeskai Sahili, and then fourth is kind of the outlier in this top 8 when we really break it down. It's Jeskai Control.
Jeskai no Sahili?
No Sahili. They were like, nah, pass on that. I don't want none of that free win business. I'm going to earn my wins the hard way by playing Torrential Gearhulks. And that's probably the main way of winning, I imagine. And Wandering Fumarole.
Turns out that might actually be the easy way.
Could be.
What I've seen. Yeah. A lot of the matches I watched.
Most of the time, actually, winning is typically with Torrential Gearhulk. Now that I really truly consider it.
Yeah. It is. It does matter that if threatening the combo does do a lot for you.
Oh yeah.
In that game plan, because they don't want to use a removal spell on the Gearhulk.
No, man.
They can save it for a potential.
And then your shield's down. You're like Pestermite, then Splitter Twin. You're like, oh, you're dead.
Yeah. So, do we want to talk about specific decks here?
I just want to bring up this is sort of the only real non-Sahili, non-green black deck in the top 8, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So I do want to give a quick shout out to Dragon Master Outcast being in the sideboard there.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Sup, fam? Again, the funniest thing that I think I heard at Columbus was when Ray Perez Jr. was like, he cast Dragon Lord. He's like, look, it's Dragon Master Outcast. Like, it's Dragon Lord Ojitai, which just it's kind of funny. It kind of made me laugh. But this is a card that's still in the format that I think definitely has some potential when people go up and play against these very low creature count control decks. It's the classic switcheroo where it's like, well, now I have this game-ending threat on the battlefield that you can't deal with. You cited all your removal. I think it kind of depends on how much people really want to play shocks, and it is kind of hilarious against Walking Ballista, unfortunately. So it definitely is not a game ender, but
you're probably not bringing it in against Walking Ballista.
No, not at all.
But
against probably other control decks or other Jeskai Sahili decks, you probably might pop it in.
Yeah, the thing about it is, and like you said, they board out their removal. Even if they don't board out all their removal, maybe they leave in a couple things to kill Gear Hulks or something like that, right? They're probably boarding out some amount of removal.
Oh yeah,
and the fact that you can cast this for 1 mana and then still have other mana up to cast counter spells.
Yeah.
So like even if they have a removal spell, you could just negate it or whatever.
Yeah, just protect it.
Yeah, and it's not that hard to protect, so I like it.
He just poops out some dragons.
I hope that's not how that happens.
Well,
It's just like,
I don't know,
oh no,
man.
not again. Ah! Oh, it's fire breathing. Ah! Anyways, I like this build just because like I like Jace a lot in the main.
Yeah, Jace is great. I just like
The card advantage machine.
I just enjoy an ultimating a Jace. It just feels so good. So great.
Yeah,
I know it's not like the
sometimes.
intent, but I'm just saying it's great if you haven't done it yet.
Ultimate make you feel good.
Yep. I mean, when we take a look at the rest of the top 8, we do see, a lot of black green, kind of showing up in 6th, 7th, and 8th. 2 of them are black green delirium, and one of them is green black aggro. But that deck just certainly didn't go anywhere. Even when we look at all the way down to 11th, it's either a Saheeli deck or green black deck besides the Jeskai control list. So
I want to talk about the 4-color Saheeli list though.
okay, so let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Is that the second place list?
Yeah,
So this is going to be Jeffrey Ashkin's list,
because this deck is sweet actually. I think.
and
Yeah, this is definitely like the hottest deck in the top 8.
Yeah, like just looking at the spells that are in the deck, like you should be confused. I think like if you just saw that as a smattering of spells, but this deck is sweet because it gets to play Cloud Blazer and Rogue Refiner, which if you haven't seen that one from last week, that's your 3-drop for a 3/2 that draws a card and gets 2 energy. This feels a lot like what was the 3 hybrid green blue, the Selkie?
Cold Eye Selkie?
Cool.
No. Wistful Selkie.
Yeah. But like just like the Elvish Visionary variant that like powers up your Aether Hubs, which this deck desperately likes a bit of an Aether Hub. 4 Servant of the Conduit, also pretty hungry for energy, which helps your mana. And then it's got all these awesome Planeswalker, including Ajani. Planeswalker Ajani.
Ajani and Yielding.
So Ajani and Yielding 2 Chandra and 4 Saheeli Rai. And I know if you're doing the mana counts in your head, yes, it hurts your brain, and it's great. But this deck does a good job casting all of it, and it also gets to play like Prophetic Prisms to help with the mana base, and a Singleton Panharmonicon, which is like, man, so sweet. That's the draw where your opponent is just like getting outvalued for sure.
That's a sweet target for your Saheeli ultimate when you're not comboing off.
Man, you're not wrong.
Like,
oh man,
that's pretty sweet, right? Like, you just go get Prophetic Prism, a Panharmonicon, and
Implement of Combustion.
Implement of Combustion. Main
which
deck.
was the other tech from this week.
Yeah, this is actually awesome, and I think you're going to see this a lot at the Pro Tour. And nobody else had this card from what I can see. So, Implement of Combustion is the 1-mana artifact, and you can pay a red to sacrifice it to deal 1 damage to target player. And you're like, oh wow, that's pretty weak. But as long as you have this on the battlefield, you can break up a Saheeli combo. It's kind of like the same idea of when we talk about how Walking Ballista can be kind of protection, but this one can't get shocked or removed as easily.
It can get disallowed, sir.
It can't get
It can get disallowed. Sure.
So this is like, Seal of Fire, right? But just like an uncounterable burn spell of some persuasion.
Yeah,
except counterable by disallow.
I mean,
in
you
this
have
current
to
format.
You have to hold up a red mana.
Sure,
But I mean, even when it's not quote unquote good, it still cycles because when it goes to the graveyard,
yeah,
you draw a card. So I think that's awesome. I think even just like playing it as a one of in the main deck, because I mean I have seen a lot of these decks. They get out an early Saheeli and they just kind of sit there and scry and like, even some of the more I guess regular versions of just the Jeskai. Like if you ultimate Saheeli, a lot of times they can only get its original Gear Hulk. But if you're able to go like, I'll get a Gear Hulk and an Implement and like a Prophetic Prism or something like that. I don't know. That seems sweet to me.
yeah.
But yeah, so that was, I thought that was pretty hot tech, and I think that there is something to that.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I will to give credit where credit's due. I will say the Jund list that a couple of players locally were working on, like Chase Harrell, Jordan Kennedy, former host. Definitely they were playing with that card for a little while at the beginning, and like I thought it was pretty weak, and they ended up cutting it. But I was not as surprised to see this because I knew exactly why it was there. I was like, all right, I've actually heard people argue this is fine, and he took it to the top here. So this deck is certainly interesting. Like, I feel like it looks like you could just like. This looks like the kind of deck that like you could have some really awesome LSV hands from, right? Where it's just like straight Garbo, right? But everything seems pretty cohesive here, and it's really focusing. Like Oath of Nissa really ties this whole deck together. And if you haven't seen how these 4-color decks work to play Oath of Nissa, like Oath of Nissa with Felidar Guardian is nice because the Jeskai deck can't really effectively always cast its Felidar Guardians. Like they cast it to like block, or they could get an extra energy. Late in the game, you could flicker like your like Torrential Gear Hulk, but it's not nearly as common. But this deck, it just wants to cast it on turn 4. Which the cool thing about that too is it is definitely its own form of pressure. Where the Jeskai deck wants to desperately protect until it can go off, this deck probably doesn't care about just casting it a lot of the time. Just like I cast to get value, and now your opponent has to make sure they can kill it, or interacts with Saheeli the next turn, or they may die. And I think that form of pressure alone lets this deck be more even aggressive. Like, I don't mean aggressive from an attacking angle, but like aggressive in its spellcasting.
It's more proactive.
Yeah, than the Jeskai deck could ever be. So it's interesting. Now, of course, it lost in the mirror match. Mirror, pseudo, but it's interesting.
Yeah, I think the way that Dylan Donegan's deck was constructed was just really good against the mirrors. And I don't know if you want to jump over to that now or if you want to finish talking about this deck, but Donegan's deck, I mean, he's playing pretty much just a standard Jeskai Saheeli. He had 3 Gear Hulks and 3 Felidar Guardians. So you could see that right there, not by playing less than 4 Felidar Guardians, he's pretty much using it as just a combo piece. Now there are things like Oath of Jace that he can flicker, but he's only playing 2 of those. But really, I think the main deck was pretty straightforward. You have your Anticipate, Glimmer of Genius as your card draw, Harness Lightning is your removal, disallows, and negates and things like that. But after board, if you look at what he brings in for the mirror, so he brings in 2 more negates, so he goes up to 4 negates. He brings in 3 dispels. He's got spell quellers, which can be nice in the mirror because that's a counterspell that essentially can't be negated or dispelled.
Yeah, I think it's important to like dispel even. Like dispel isn't good against the combo, but if you are playing in the mirror, like you don't want to use real counter magic on like Glimmer of Genius because like how critical card advantage is. But dispel feels great against Glimmer of Genius because you can even like depending on how the turn goes, whether they try to fire it off, it gives you a window to cast your own glimmers a little bit easier and defend them. And like winning that card advantage race is how you're going to win the mirror anyways. So. Yeah, I agree with you. This is a good build for sure. I also want to point out the move back to Immolating Glare. In our testing, that was a card I was strongly advocating. And in my list of Jeskai, Saheeli, which obviously I didn't play at the Columbus Open, but I was running 2 of that card because I felt like you had to be able to kill things that Harness Lightning couldn't always deal with. And I think Week 1 showed us, that when on turn 3, when your opponent has a 4/5 Snake and a 4/4 Rishkar, Harness Lightning does not exactly always do the job. So if you look at all these Jeskai lists, they're most of them are now running Immolating Glare, just so you have something that just kills that or kills Averter's Gear Hulk, to be quite honest.
Yeah, I mean, like even in a mirror match where like you might think a card like that is not great, like killing like Torrential Gear Hulk is just like still pretty important. I mean, he doesn't really have too many other ways to deal with it. He's playing like 1 Nahiri, a couple Fumigates. Those are a little bit awkward because of they cost so much. I would imagine like playing that along with Gear Hulk is just such a blowout too. Like they attack you and you're like, all right, play my Gear Hulk, flash this, kill that attacker, block this other attacker.
Yeah, right. You feel pretty good at that point.
Yeah.
So I like that, just that little bit of change. So, and I think Oath of Jace is a nice change too. And I hope it keeps seeing play because I've had this foil Korean one, or Korean? Japanese, I don't know, one of the boxes that Morgan and I opened. I've had it for a while now, just hoping it was worth any amount of money at some point.
I just want to point out, I think it's interesting too. A lot of these lists are playing Quarantine Field, either in the main deck or sideboard. And it's like we kind of got like a new quasi Oblivion Ring card or Banishing Light, I guess, in Aether Revolt. I forget the name of it, but like paying extra mana to be able to hit Planeswalkers apparently is worth it.
Well, I think it's just important that I think it's been a while since we felt we could, outside of like Stasis Snare, like I think everyone's been just so used to enchantments just subtly dying. You know what I mean? Like we had Dromoka's command for so long.
Oh gosh,
that just, seeing all these quarantine fields, I feel like unsafe, right? Where it's like they're gonna die, right? Oh no, they're gonna. Okay, all right, that's fine then. So I'm glad to see that card seeing play, but it does feel. I feel like it's like I need to keep looking over my shoulder. Like you guys are gonna print something that just makes enchantments like not.
Yeah, they're gonna
right?
print all the enchantment hate next block to counteract the artifact set. Wait.
Have the enchantments.
Well, there's gonna be a lot of sand-based enchantments.
Yeah. Anakin Skywalker's gonna hate Anakin. Hate it. It gets everywhere, and he hates it.
Oh man.
Are there other decks that we want to talk about?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I know that someone else played Black Red Zombies.
Yeah, I want to talk about that in a second, but I do want to mention one of the Black Green Delirium decks. 6th place Maxwell Paustian. He's playing Rishkar's expertise in the sideboard.
Yeah, so
just one. You
gotta draw some cards.
But
so it's just a fun of, you think?
I mean, it seems to me like a pretty good card in the mirror.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Right? Where like you both are just like slamming creatures on the ground and like have to break through somehow, and you're just like, you know what? I'm gonna draw. Like I'm gonna play this Gear Hulk. Next turn I'm gonna untap, and I'm gonna draw 8 cards. I'm gonna cast another spell. Do I win yet? Like that seems pretty good. So, but we talked about the card seeing play. It's top 8 of the Open. So,
I think while we're talking about black green decks, I think there was definitely an uptick of To the Slaughter getting played.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I definitely noticed a lot of people playing that. I know Todd Anderson had some number of them in his list. Now I don't know if I haven't really dove into his list too much here. I think it's
Dove and Bond into his list.
Dove and Bond. It looks pretty standard, I guess.
Yep.
Nothing too crazy going on.
Nope.
So, do you want to talk about zombies then?
I do want to give a quick shout out to Corey Lynch real quick though. He did have 2 Gifted Aetherborn in his green black aggro deck.
Nice.
So that's a card I hadn't really seen before now. But yeah, we can go ahead and move on to 13th place.
Zombie.
Zan Said.
Hey. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So I guess there were 3 copies of Black Red Zombies at day 2.
Yep.
So yeah, awesome. I will say the versus video that went up for premium today in Star City. Todd Anderson's playing my list poorly. They even say at the beginning of the video that it's like Todd Anderson's like, I'm pretty sure I'm playing the deck that Tom Ross would normally play. So, but unfortunately they played against green white tokens, which is not its best matchup.
No.
And also like across all the matches, like he returned 0 like prized amalgams. Like all the draws were just like really. Like I watched it, I was like, oh, these draws are bad. Like, all right, but it's cool if you want to see it play. I was happy. But this version is a little bit different than mine.
Yeah, there are obviously some changes that I would like to like kind of know how you feel about them.
I mean, I'll be honest. I don't like this list very much, but he did better than I did, so I don't I don't want to argue too much. He is playing. So I said last week that my biggest issue is I definitely didn't have any fatal pushes, and then he took that to the other extreme and played 4 in the main, and I don't know how that's right. This deck does not do a great job at getting its own things off the board. Like look at the main deck here, and outside of like a creature dying, like in combat, or a neonate sacrificing itself, there's no way. Pariah sacking 3 guys right?
Sure.
Like there's just no way to consistently make fatal push at 4. So like you have only a couple of ways to like. I was playing Combustion because 1, that allows you to kill things like Gear Hulks, which are everywhere, but 2, because it allows you to 2 for 1 the combo, and he really doesn't have like Fatal Push has to be triggered to even be able to hit Felidar Guardian, and I just feel like you might get caught with like your pants down a couple of times there. Now it's certainly better against like snakes in general, but I man, I don't know.
Which, to be fair, there were 39, green black lists in day 2,
right?
Combined between both delirium and aggro. So maybe he just that's what allowed him to perform better.
But he can't kill like Rishkar or Mindwreck Demon most of the time. Like unless you've done something in combat.
I mean, he does still have Lightning Axe.
He does still have Lightning Axe. That's not. But he only has 2. Like,
Sure.
and like he's cut down on like Voldaren Pariah and Cathartic Reunion. Now he's done this to cut a land as well. And I said before that a lot of the decks have cut down to 22 lands, but I hated it because and actually if you even watch like the Versus video, which it's premium, so I apologize. I know some people get really offended if you send them to premium without telling them. So. Spoiler
You've been
alert.
warmed.
You've been warmed. This is me
We're
blowing
trying
on
to
the
warm
mic.
you up. It's okay.
You've been warmed. There you go.
You've been warmed.
Or cooled. I guess it's like a cool soup. I don't know which one you want. But he had a couple of games where he got like stuck for a land and you wanted to be able to cycle through. Cathartic Reunion is one of your most powerful cards. Now I will say, you do board some number of them out against like the Jeskai decks because getting that card countered consistently can be rough.
Yeah.
Though, good.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, but like, I would think having the extra land wouldn't really be that much of a drawback in this deck because you have so many ways. Like if you draw extra lands, you just discard it to, Haunted Dead or Key to the City or Lightning Axe
exactly.
or whatever. Like
I like erring on the side of having the extra land. Now I will say the things I do like. Aedison and Mindbender in the main is not bad at all. That card overperformed for me, so I'm not surprised to see him move one to the main. And like Key to the City was a card that definitely overperformed for me. And I had 2 copies in the 75. Putting the second one in the main also makes a lot of sense to me. That card does a ton of work in all of your matchups, but it also just makes things like Fiery Temper and like Voldaren Pariah much better when you can just always cast them the way you want to.
Yeah.
Overall, though, like outside of the removal things, like these decks are still the same decks. The shell is still the same, and the engine is still there. The sideboard is also pretty similar. He's made room for 2 Chandras, which is, I'll be honest, is a card I've never really tried. Also because like double red is not a guarantee.
Yeah, it's not the deck's strong suit.
So let me ask you this, Mike, because you've played this deck a decent amount. What are the bad matchups for it? So like you want to be playing against the Saheeli decks. Yeah, right.
Blue-based control decks are
your cup of tea.
That is your bread and butter. The easiest matches to win. Green black, I put so in our testing, like you're ahead game 1 and then 50-50 boarded games. So I call that a middling matchup. You know what I mean? Like you could certainly win them. Green white tokens is bad.
Yeah.
Well, luckily green white tokens kind of disappeared.
Yeah, just disappeared.
Which was I kind of like figured that would happen because I thought it was just a worse black green deck.
Right. The thing is you want to swarm that deck. And like that deck just pumps out creatures all the time and gets to keep pressuring you with like Gear Hulks and Infinite Hearted Kierans.
Yeah, and like your best card, like Voldaren Pariah, just sometimes isn't as good.
Green black, you just get to wipe their board, unless they have like Nissa. But like even like the boarded games they were showing like against the green white deck, like they're running like Saram's expertise, and it's like, oh cool, this is Voldaren Pariah is not anywhere near what I need it to be. So that matchup is rough, and then humans is rough. Vehicles is okay. So like straight up humans, like because again you don't have a lot of ways to deal with the swarm as quickly as they can, but like vehicles you can generally stabilize against. So it's really really good against blue base control. It's fine against vehicles of black green. It's bad generally against like humans and like tokens.
All right, so that's good to know. So like obviously. I'm pretty confident that the Pro Tour is going to seriously shake up the standard format. So I guess like depending on what we see happen at the Pro Tour, like if Control does really well at the Pro Tour, this might be a really good deck to pick up.
Yeah, I think like depending on what happens there, I think that I wouldn't be surprised to see a team even like end up on a list that has this shell. Blue black has still been popular. Even someone like who's in Dublin right now, like Steve Rubin, played blue black zombies before the rotation. That focused on like Sinister Concoctions. Which Sinister Concoctions another sweet one to hold up. You only have to hold up 1 black and you get to threaten the the Saheeli combo the whole time. So
it's the black implement, not the actual black implement.
It is. It's the black implement, but also lets you like discard a card. So like I wasn't a big fan of that card before rotation, but like looking at like 4 fatal pushes in this list, like I could certainly see that being a card you would go back to. And I think like the sideboard here makes a lot of sense. I Collective Brutality, I still don't feel like it does enough in this format. Maybe, against humans, maybe you get to kill a guy and drain 2 and discard, which is sweet. But like ostensibly, you'd want it against decks where the discard effect is really, really good. But it's actually not that great against the Jeskai decks.
Yeah.
Like you're not hitting the critical things. Release of Gremlins is a card I tested. I like Destructive Tampering. They're both doing similar things. And Forward Transgress seems like a lot. I would miss a Mindbender, but these really aren't that different. So I congratulations to Zan, and I'm glad for everyone who did well with zombies. Like I did well with it. I don't claim to have any sort of ownership over the archetype.
Right.
Like I didn't help design it or anything. So I'm glad to see people keep pushing and playing with it, and I hope it does well. I hope it makes an appearance at the Pro Tour, because I think I think you saw even after a couple of people started talking about it, but I think it's something that people just assumed, like, oh, well, there's no copter, it's dead. But really, there's a whole section of this metagame that it just feasts on, and it's not the brains section.
Speaking of copter, his list did not have any Heart of Karens in it. How do you feel about that change?
I don't know. Heart of Kieran definitely overperformed for me, but I also feel like I could see, like, if it's just not what you want to be doing with the deck, like one of the nice things about this deck is because you have so much selection, like with Cathartic Reunions and what you're doing with like your Haunted Deads, is that like the games where like you quickly know like when you won't have, because I said this before about Smuggler's Copter, like how good it was in the deck, but there was also like if you didn't cast it on turn 2, there's a lot of times you just didn't have time to cast it, and that's how Heart of Kieran felt. Like it was good on turn 2, it was great with it's great with Scrounger, like being able to just bring a Scrounger back and block blows people out, but like if you don't want it, then you can just discard it, which is nice. So, like, him cutting it here, like, I don't think it's a huge loss. I think it just depends on how you want to play the deck.
Okay.
So, he wanted room for more removal. Again, I still don't think, like, 4 Fatal Push is the right way to go. And I would strongly consider, like, again, like, maybe even Concoction going forward. Just because Fatal Push not hitting, like, Verdur's Gear Hulk, like, in the Black-Green matchups, Verdur's Gear Hulk is the card that, like...
kills you.
Tends to be the card that, like, finish... Like, if you guys are at board parity... and you don't have an answer for a Gear Hulk when it comes down, that's going to be it. And he only has... I mean, honestly, if they put 2 counters on the Gear Hulk, he has no ways outside of a Pariah to kill one. In the 75. Like, there's nothing in the 75 that does it. So, that is something I would be wary of, because there are a ton of Gear Hulks in the format.
Okay.
And it's not just Verdurous. He also can't kill Torrential either.
Yeah.
I guess Release the Gremlins. I apologize. Release the Gremlins can do it. My apologies. But I don't think you're boarding that in against either of those decks. I have no idea. I don't want to assume, but I would not be. So
it doesn't feel like that's what you want to do. Like tampering, I think would be though, right? Like because tampering, you get the falter effect.
I was bringing a tampering in against the black green decks for that reason. So I'm not saying it's infinitely better, but the falter effect is a legitimate way to win the game.
Mike and I are both big fans of falter effects. If you guys don't
really
know,
are.
Yeah, huge thumbs up from us. Great stuff. Anything else from the...
Yeah, we should talk about Temur Eldrazi.
All right, Temur Eldrazi is the other hotness that
deck was cool. I guess that
creeped
deck's
up.
real cool.
I think there's something going on with that deck that I think there might be something to it.
So William Bingham?
Yeah.
Which I'm going to assume that William is very British because his name sounds very British to me.
Probably not.
William Bingham? No? I you know what? I hope you're not offended, William, that I would think you are British. You just might go by like Bill. And you're just like Bill Bing, and that's awesome too.
Bill Bingham.
BB. Yeah, so this is pretty sweet. This is like when I say Eldrazi, I mean it. You have the Eldrazi Sky Spawner, Matter Reshaper, Reality Smasher, Thought Knot Seers, Wretched Grifts, Elder Deep Fiends, Drowner of Hope, and 4 Metallic Mimic, which does a pretty good Eldrazi impersonation. Along with some Rogue Refiners making another appearance.
Just as the weird, like, hanging out with a bunch of, like, eldritch monsters. But, like, I'm just...
hey, guys.
I'm just illegally refining some Aether over here. Do not mind me.
I like the lineup. Like, Sky Spawner, what are you doing? I'm birthing new Eldrazi out of my form. Oh, that's terrifying. Hey,
Thought on Seer, what are you doing?
I'm taking literal thoughts out of people's brains. Oh, cool. Reality Smasher?
It's smashing.
It's just smashing. Okay, Rogue Refiner? Just energy. Just siphoning.
Just
siphoning. I'm siphoning your gas tank. Like,
trying to feed my family.
Hey, you guys do you. I'm just gonna be over here.
Hey, they all look terrible. They're taking the heat off of me.
How excited does Rogue Refiner get every time Metallic Mimics cast? Like, human this time? Guys?
Human? Come on.
So,
come on.
Do you think this is like Steve's buddy? Steve the Rogue Refiner.
So Rogue Refiner actually introduced Steve to Emerald.
Okay.
It's like
he's real close to the Eldrazi.
I got this gorgeous lady you got to meet.
She'll literally blow your mind.
This is my Citizen Kane clap for you,
it's good.
sir.
It's good.
Oh man,
I'm not gonna not gloat about it.
But this is all combined with 4 Harness Lightning and 4 Shocks, and then a pretty interesting mana base that has a lot of You got to obviously have enough colorless mana, so you have Evolving Wilds and Waste, you have Aether Hub. You also have a sweet Crumbling Vestige, which I hope you played that awesome FNM one. And then, of course, Force Sanctum of Ugin, which really, I think, one of the cards that did well this weekend, but has been on a lot of people's radar, even in reading articles this week, has been Elder Deep Fiend.
Yeah.
I started brewing with it a little bit because, after watching the Saheeli matchups go on, I really think it's a version of, Jeskai Saheeli even, or 4-color Saheeli that, Splinter Twins you, taps you out, at the end of turn, and then you go off, and that feels really good. So, seeing 4 copies of that here and seeing the Force Sanctum of Ugins to, start the cycle, that's really, I think, how this deck wins the game. It curves all the way out like Eldrazi does, and then it just starts tapping you out every turn.
So it's interesting that you say that with the Saheeli deck, because Ali Antrazi finished somewhere in the top 64, and he was playing Elder Deep Fiends in his sideboard.
The thing is, you have to make sure you have enough things to sack for it, because you can't just always be casting it for 8. But looking at the 4-color list that we talked about in second place,
you kind of can though. You kind of can just cast it on 8.
You can, but things like Rogue Refiner in those decks, Rogue Refiner is the beautiful Elder Deep Fiend. Honestly, what I really want to do is play 4 Matter Reshapers and 4 Treasure Keepers, and I just want to go to Value Town. Treasure Keeper is the one that when it dies, you get the Bloodbraid Elf, you get the Cascade.
Yeah.
End of turn, I'll emerge, cast a spell, tap all your things. Just made myself really happy.
So I'm gonna, looking at the sideboard, I'm gonna pose a situation to you, gentlemen, and let me know how great it sounds. I'm going to cast a Baral's Expertise. I'm also going to resolve a Thought-Knot here.
You're going to return the creature and then
yes, correct.
their hand. Yeah.
That seems like a great line of play for 5 mana. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna try this deck out at FNM this week.
Nice.
Do you have pretty much everything for it?
I need a World Breaker and a Chandra.
I have a World Breaker.
I have a Chandra.
I have everything
go.
else.
I'll have to find that World Breaker.
So
it's Korean, I believe. So.
That's fine.
You just remember what it does.
Destroys things.
Yeah, breaks worlds.
It breaks
Yes.
worlds.
Yeah, correct.
So Baral's Expertise had a little bit of camera time in round 1 as well, where it was in the mono blue.
It was casting Aetherflux Reservoir, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But not only that, so it used Inspiring Statuary to cast Baral's Expertise for 2, to then play the Aetherflux Reservoir, because you can't use Statuary on that because it's an artifact, but you can cast it up for Expertise.
Yeah, and then you target 3 of your own artifacts.
Hot dang.
So you get 3 more spells cast out. Yeah, I think we talked about Brawl's Expertise, and I think we all said it's certainly playable. And if you can abuse the free cast on it, then it gets pretty exciting. And I like how this deck, because this deck also if you look here, it's also playing Unsubstantiate. Eldrazi decks, even in Modern and Standard, they are tap out, curve out decks. If that deck goes, turn 2 Mimic, turn 3 Reshaper, turn 4 Thought Knot, turn 5 Reality Smasher, there are not many decks that can do anything to slow that down. And then if you follow that up with bounce your guys, you lose the game. They can just tempo you out. So you have Raw's Expertise and Unsubstantiate to just create some pretty disgusting turns where, okay, I think I've stabilized against you, go. And they're like, no.
Think again.
No. And again, of course, you add this with Elder Deep Fiend, which is already a pretty sweet tempo play. And I really like this deck.
The one thing, I guess the one criticism I would have of this deck is I think the mana is a little shaky, because it is essentially a 4-color deck, and you get Sanctum of Ugins, which that's colorless, but it's not doing anything else. Obviously later in the game you can start chaining your emerge creatures, but from what I saw, and he was on camera a few times, seemed to be some mana issues. Now maybe those were the only times, I don't know, but so maybe there's something to be done there. Maybe
I think as good as Rogue Refiner is, it is sort of interesting to me that you're not looking at Servant of the Conduit, because it does seem like one of the best things you can do with your Eldrazi is cast them a turn earlier anyways. But maybe you just want maybe you just desperately need the extra energy to make your Aether Hubs worthwhile. But
I kind of like that, because the only other 2-drop you have is Metallic Mimic, so I think and you already have multiple 3-drops that you want to be. You already have your Sky Spawners and your
Matter
Reshapers. Yeah. So that might be there might be something to that. I mean, turn 3 Thought Knot is pretty nice.
It certainly is,
as we know, and even in Modern. So,
and like the way this format works, like turn 3 Thought Knot can be like the difference, like turn 3 Thought Knot versus like Jeskai control versus turn 4, especially who's on the play, is the difference between getting like your Thought Knot countered or like taking their Glimmer of Genius before they get to start chaining spells. And like, so that might be enough. So yeah, Servant of the Conduit seems like the kind of card that this deck probably wants.
also, seeing 4 shocks in the main, and I understand why they're there. This seems really gross though. It's just like, seems like there's a lot of matchups where that's just like, ugh.
You know what card this deck probably really wants, and sadly it just doesn't exist in the format? It just wants Unsummon, like, I think really badly. Right? Man, give this deck Vapor Snag.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
closest you have is like technically like Disperse.
Yeah, you have Disperse,
but you also have
but
like
you have Unsubstantiated.
yeah. Anyway, so who cares?
But like,
But those are cost 2 mana.
you have
Yeah, we're talking
Selective
about 1 mana.
Inspection where the creature has to be tapped and then you get to scry. It's like,
Yeah, not close enough.
That doesn't stop the combo.
Does not. Turns out.
All right.
I think
Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
All right.
Yeah,
well,
I mean, there were just a crap ton of green-black decks and Saheeli decks.
That's a very
and
classy way to describe this. Just a crap ton.
crap ton.
just crap ton. Metric poop ton.
Magic poop ton. Man, Dragon Master Outcast just pooping out all of the Jeskai decks.
Yeah, like I said, it's great because exactly 100 decks players made day 2, so you can just like any number you get, that's your percentage.
Yeah, it was something like 40-something black-green decks.
It was 39 between Delirium and Aggro.
Okay,
at the very
this
least.
is just about 40. I mean,
And then
I'm
I
not
think
surprised.
it's 24 Saheeli decks.
yeah, I'm not surprised. I think a lot of people kind of saw like the top 8 or top 64 lists and like, oh man, the standard's back to being a 2-deck format. Well,
Yeah.
I'm pretty confident that we're going to see some more, possibly new decks, maybe some old decks come out in the Pro Tour. So I'm not worried about it.
All right.
Not yet.
So let's finish out the rest of this tournament report. We do want to talk about the Standard Classic. Just at least give shout outs to Todd Stevens for winning it with Black Green Delirium. So shout out to Todd Stevens, good job.
It's him switching decks in a week.
Yeah,
'Cause he definitely was playing
on
Jeskai
Saheeli
last week.
Also, brief touch on the Modern Classic. Shout outs to Christopher Calhoun for winning with Gridshul brand. So maybe the lack of graveyard interaction may have benefited that deck.
Yeah, I'm not happy to see that deck doing well.
Yeah,
I'd say a majority of people that play Modern are probably not happy to see that deck do
that
well.
was the deck that 2 weeks ago I got to watch Dave die with his fetch land crack on the stack, which was his only land. It was turn one. It was his turn one.
End of your turn, crack fetch, dead. Oh, okay.
I know you mentioned the Classic really quickly, but Morgan, I did want to mention Andrew Jessup top 16 the Classic with Teamer Energy.
Yes.
Like it's only 4 ofs though. Did you see this?
It's
It's 4 defense, 4 Harness Lightning, 4 Invigorating Rampage, 4 Attune to the Aether, 4 Larger Than Life, 4 Voltaic Brawler, 4 Servant of the Conduit, 4 Long Tusk Cup, 4 Bristling Hydra, 4 like there's no fanciness here. You're just
well,
boom.
we're
He
up
knows-
to
he knows
up to
what he
11
wants.
or not at all.
Yeah, he knows what he wants to do.
But I think his sideboard's pretty sweet. He's got Lath New Hellions in the sideboard if he wants to get a little more aggressive.
Yes, Lathny Hellion's kind of been a mainstay in the those decks or sideboards for sure.
And Arlen Cord. And then Arlen
Cord, yes,
made an appearance last week in the energy deck, the Jund energy deck that I had lost to. He top 64'd. He definitely cast an Arlen Cord against me, and I was like, "What?" Like,
This is great. I would play this deck
Yeah,
in a
right?
heartbeat. Just snap it
I
off.
wanted to stop just for a second because I know you like this deck, and this just seems like I'm just gonna play creature. Like, Dave, this is literally a 2020 deck. Are you seeing this?
Yes. This is old school.
Oh man,
Yeah, Invigorated Rampage, like I said, solid card. Blossoming Defense, always a heavy hitter. Heroic Intervention, that's kind of one of the cards that you want. It's your counter to
your 5th Blossoming Defense.
yeah your 5th Blossoming Defense.
But it counters Fumigate, which there are a ton of Fumigates.
Yeah, exactly. That's
So does Negate though, which he has that as well.
yeah.
Yeah, the negate and the island in the sideboard is kind of weird, but I get it. It's almost a free roll because you have Aether Hubs and you can play the Botanical. He has one
Right.
Botanical Sanctum. So
Yeah.
So but there you go. That's
Sweet.
all
No,
I'll say.
that's
about
great.
that. I'm glad. I just wanted you to see that because I knew you would like that deck.
Oh yeah, 100%. Sign me up.
Anything else before we go into Pro Tour?
Shout out to Mono Blue Turns, top 16 the classic.
No.
Yes, correct.
Hold on here. With Baral, Chief of Compliance.
Yeah, you know what?
I'm not shouting out that one.
That's
I'm a hater.
too
I'm a
late.
hater on that deck.
Too late. You're a hater on every deck that like oh man, it's not now Delver in it.
Hey, I'm not playing Delver this weekend.
Whatever. There's still a couple of days.
There is still time.
There's yet time.
When I see you playing in the tournament with the deck registered, then I'll believe there's not Delvers in it. And even then, I might check behind some of the cards.
See, you're not going to see me though because you're going to be working. And
I have
be-
people who will send me things.
I'll take a picture of it.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, Pro Tour talk. Let's get excited. This is happening. You know, Pro Tour starts Friday.
Pump up the
It's
jam.
in Dublin,
pump
so
it up.
you know it's going to be some. You're going to have some awkward times, awkward timing. You know, with watching it at if you want to get up real early, you can catch the draft. But if you wake up like a normal person in the Eastern time zone, then you're probably just going to slide right into standard, if I'm not mistaken.
This is like perfect for what I want to see out of the Pro Tour because I don't really care too much about the limited portion.
I like watching the drafts
Yeah.
happen. That's fun.
Yeah. You can
Watching
watch that. You can
limited-
watch that later though.
Watching standard, yeah.
I like watching it live because if I know who wins, it's almost like watching sports. It's like if I know who wins, it's not as fun. Like I like to see. Like I like to be surprised.
Go on media blackout. Just like don't
Yeah.
watch anything.
Yeah,
just
that
like
stinks. No one
don't
wants
tell
to do
me.
that.
Turn off your phone. Throw it in the toilet.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to take a stand here. I don't care if you want to do that or not. The thing is happening live. If you want to be a part of it, then you will, or you'll go on media blackout. I'm tired of this anti-spoiler culture that's like, I can't watch it when it's on. Well, you know what? It's not my problem. Stay off social media.
No, I'm saying you can go back and watch the draft after because
Do people do that?
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't.
Okay, as I said,
They might
He
replay
said he
I don't
likes
know.
watching the draft. Would you go back and watch the
I
draft?
mean,
No.
no. I
Okay.
would watch the drafting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would
yeah,
watch
yeah.
the drafting. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the part that's exciting.
I also would feel like spoiled if I saw their deck already. Like, oh man, I wish I wouldn't have seen him play this card. Now we know he's just gonna pick one.
Clearly.
So yeah, the coverage starts at 9 a.m. local time, which is 4 a.m. Eastern time.
Ooh,
Now,
rough.
they generally do a little bit of pre-game banter where they'll just talk about. I mean, I'm sure they'll just talk about limited cards because they're going to be drafting first.
Yeah.
So if you figure the draft takes about an hour, well, draft and then deck building, and then you have 3 rounds, so you figure about 4 hours, and then I don't know if they do a break. Sometimes they have a lunch break. in
Yeah, they have a
between.
lunch break.
So like
between
standard's
draft and
probably going to
standard.
start around 9ish, 9 or 10 a.m. Eastern time. That's not too bad.
I guess. Yeah. I mean, it's not that bad. I mean, don't forget they also have the special video that details the differences between Dublin, Ireland, and Dublin, Ohio.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's good to know.
They air
I might
that
go to the
every-
wrong Dublin.
They air that every Dublin PT because there's so much confusion and
It's
just
true.
like
People don't know where to go.
right. It's
Sister
bad.
cities,
Sad.
man.
It's bad.
Sister cities.
So they have this great article that's on Magic that kind of shows what to kind of expect from the Pro Tour. The also have like all of the teams listed, which is really exciting because it's going to be like the first time we get to watch these different 6-person teams really kind of be set in stone and like have storylines basically crafted for them. And it's the it's the Pro Tour Aether Revolt preview. It's by Rich Hagon. So since we have all these teams, we kind of wanted to discuss like what teams we're excited for. And I thought I'd start because mine are pretty easy. It's definitely Team Last Samurai and Team Musashi because they have the best names, the best names. There is one of the team that you could give an argument for, and I think you could have a genuine argument for, and I'm sure someone else on this table will bring it up. But Team Last Samurai, Team Musashi, you're in my hearts.
I like Team Last Samurai, not so much for the name, though the name is sweet, but like some of the players on it. So you have Kenji Samura, Tsuyoshi Fujita, and Masashi Oiso, which are like 3 old school Japanese Hall of Famers that there was a time in Magic where Japan was like pretty dominant. And these were the guys that were like just crushing it. And now they're all on the same team.
These
Like,
are the names.
I don't know if they're going to do well.
Don't care.
But it's awesome to see those
Sweet
guys
name.
all going to be at the Pro Tour and like being on the same team. So that's exciting to me.
Team Musashi's great. It's got my boy Yuki Ichikawa on there. Yeah.
They also have Yuya, right?
Yeah,
Yuya Watanabe.
Yuya Watanabe and Shota.
Taro Yamamoto.
Yeah, man, the team's great too.
That team is stacked.
Yeah, so good. Those are my teams. Those are
Those are your teams?
Oh yeah, I hope they do well. Hope they do great.
All right, I'm gonna say probably the two. I would say probably the most obvious great teams are Channel Fireball Ice. So you have PVDDR, Mike Segrist, Yoel Larson, Ben Stark, Andre Strosky, and Eric Froelich. So it's pretty nice, well-rounded team there. And then obviously Team Puzzle Quest.
Yeah, Puzzle Quest that's the team.
This is basically just the Pantheon. So you get the Peach Garden Oath guys, so Redugo and Turnwald, Huey Jensen, along with John Finkel, Cuneo, and Paul Rietzel. It's kind of weird because like Paul Rietzel is like maybe like the least known. I don't know. Maybe Cuneo is the least known. I don't know. But
Cuneo, we talked about before. He's the secret deck builder though.
He's like he's the secret tech. He's the guy that's going to be playing like blue-white control or something with like one Gear Hulk as a win condition.
As far as name goes, I have to give a shout out to MTG Mint Card, and then their brother team MTG Bent Card.
Yeah, MTG Bent Card is actually it's not on this list, but it is another team that will be there. An inspired name, inspired.
And then the Finnish team, almost finished with 2 N's.
Yeah,
is also great because they have a couple of people who aren't Finnish, so like they're almost. But a team that I'm actually excited for, like since you guys already said a bunch of the good ones, I'm excited for Team Top Level.
Yeah,
I think that is a really eclectic group of like Magic players. You have Craig Wesco and Ralph Levy, Patrick Chapin, BBD. You have Mike Hron and Dan Lanthier, which I think Mike Hron's the one I'm not really familiar with.
He's really good at limited.
Yeah, he's like their limited
guy.
But I'd be interested to see like can this team get Craig Wesco to play a different type of deck?
Can they? Can they convince him?
But I also think that like you have some really like between Chapin, Levy, and Wesco, you have some really esoteric deck builders. Like. And I think this might be the deck you see the spiciest, or the team you might see the spiciest deck from. I'm not saying it's the best deck, but you have a couple of people who really go at the metagame from different ways. And I'm kind of excited to see BBD like sort of join up with I think a group of people that like again this just seems like a really interesting group of people who became like the Justice League all of a sudden. So yeah, like they all have their unique powers, and then like when a Pro Tour comes, they've got to come together and unite. So
yeah, you talk about teams like Puzzle Quest. Which like they've been together as a Pantheon for a long time. That feels
like a team that like I would assume is in agreement most of the time. You know what I mean?
Right. But yeah, I think it is interesting and sometimes more beneficial to have people that you're not used to working with because they can bring a different perspective.
Exactly.
So, yeah. Another team that we didn't mention yet is Team Genesis, which I don't know if you guys seen the ELO project. Or
the Electric Lights Orchestra?
No, where they have like they'll keep like the ELO stats. For Magic because they don't do that anymore. But like Team Genesis actually had, if you look at like the last season, they actually had the highest combined team.
I really am annoyed that they're calling themselves Team Genesis though, because once again this does not have Peter Gabriel in it, so I don't know how they can call themselves Team Genesis.
Or Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, definite lack of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Hold on here, but like Martin Dang's on that, so they do have Vector Man. So I don't know why I just decided to equate Martin Dang with Vector Man, but I did it for the sake of the comedy. So, but seriously, like call yourself like I don't know, like almost Genesis. Like I'm just saying, no Peter Gabriel, no thank you.
So the actual players on the team are Brad Nelson, Lucas Blahan, Seth Manfield, Michael Majors, Martin Dang, and Martin Muller. So it's kind of I guess these guys were on Eureka before. I don't know if they all were.
Which is also a team.
Is that the actual name of the team?
There's a Eureka team, yes.
Yeah. So a lot of teams, a lot of them are like familiar teams that maybe have slimmed down a little bit because they're limited to 6 players. East West Bowl, for example, is now Mastrop East and Mastrop West, which is pretty cool because I mean you see that with a couple of these teams where you have sponsorships not even just from Channel Fireball or Haruya or like other card shops that are
Yeah.
pretty famous. But you have Mass Drop, which is not necessarily just strictly
Yeah,
Magic.
they definitely have a healthy like hobby section as far as that goes. But yeah, I mean, it really shows like sponsors branching out and really wanting to try this.
This is really one of the first steps into if they really want it to have that esports feel to it, then this is a good starting point.
I think with that in mind, you should also mention face-to-face games, which is another
Oh, yeah.
solid team.
Oh, yeah,
that
absolutely.
has consistently been this is a brand. You know what I mean? And then you have Alexander Haynes, Sam Pardee, Steve Rubin, Jacob Wilson, Ivan Flock, and Oliver too.
That's a good team.
That's a good team. So
And one thing that I think it's interesting to note for this one is even though you have all these teams, you still have testing groups. So I believe it's face-to-face, and I want to say Channel Fireball. One of the Channel Fireball teams they're all testing together, even though they're two separate teams. So, personally, I'm a little disappointed to see that. I wish like all the teams just kind of kept to their own. But I understand why. Obviously,
it's still, even after all the testing, it's still an indivial.
Yeah, it's still a numbers game.
tournament, So.
right.
Yeah, it's so the Channel Fireball Fire is cool, and Ice is awesome too. I hope that we can all qualify this year, and we can become Channel Fireball Heart, and then we can work on summoning Captain Planet. So it'll be nice,
those would be great.
'cause he's a hero.
I'd rather be like Channel Fireball Earth. It seems better.
You want-
Heart doesn't. I don't really care about the
Can we
monkey.
so what you're saying is we have to meet in the middle and be Channel Fireball Wind?
Sure, wind's okay. Wind's definitely on the lower, but it's okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think Fire is actually the worst though, because Wheeler was a stupid character.
Yeah, Wheeler was like the brash American. You're like, dang.
He's the Chandra of the Captain Planet.
That's true.
And
Oh, guys, I'm gonna do this. Oh no!
it's okay, I can fix it. I have fire. Oh no, everything's now on fire. It's on fire. It's so much worse than it was. Oh man.
So, have you guys seen this team, Team Mutiny? So this is another one of those kind of like weird teams that like we haven't really seen together. So we have half the team are like kind of the Madison guys. So you have Sam Black, Justin Cohen, Matt Severa. These guys won a Team GP. They played with each other a lot. And then you have Jerry Thompson and Josh Cho, who are kind of best buds. They a lot of times will test together. And then you have David Ochoa, which like out of nowhere. He's kind of like the oddball.
David Ochoa with the steel chair.
Yeah.
I need to understand why. Like, this is another chance for some outside sponsorship they just didn't get. Like, David Ochoa's team should definitely be Team Epic Mealtime. Let's just be honest. Like, they could have got some sweet like co-sponsorship. Like it'd be great. But I was I think like I don't want to go through like every team because we're. But I think like
But I mean,
I'm excited for this.
Yeah, and I did see there was some stuff on Twitter about like, we shouldn't be having the banter back and forth about whose team is better and blah blah blah. It's like I love that. I want more of that in Magic. Like, I think things are more interesting when you have rivalries, and like hopefully you see some of that like pop up with some of these. I want to see people trash talking. Like everybody's too nice. It's kind of like. And like a lot of times, like people say in pro sports, it's like, man, back in the day, like we used to have real rivalries. Like we hated the opponents. It's like maybe not to go that far in Magic, but it'd be nice to have like actual rivalries.
Yeah, no like turf.
We don't want people like
shootings or
getting
anything
in
like that.
actual fist fights like in Magic tournaments. But I think it'd be nice to just like having a little bit of trash talk and like even if it's just kind of joking around. I think it adds a lot to the experience, in my opinion. So I'm definitely more excited for this Pro Tour than I normally would be.
I hope at least one team shows up in like leather jackets and like slick back hair, and we just know that they're the heels, and like that's going to be their thing. They're just like they're all just got like they can't smoke, but so they have just like
They'll just
suckers.
have the candy cigarettes.
Yeah,
that you-
exactly. Or like just like toothpicks, and they're just like, yeah, we're here to play Magic and scam some people. Just like I want that team.
Okay. That's not exactly what I had in mind, but
That's
but
exactly what I
that's
had
an
in mind.
idea.
That's
Yeah.
100% what I had in mind.
So if we can find 3 more, well, first we need to qualify.
Yeah.
And then we need to find 3 more people that qualify. And then
Yes.
we can be that team.
Yes. Oh my gosh, Team Scum,
Yeah.
Team heel.
Scumbags.
Team Heel. Oh yeah, Team
Just team bad guys.
Hollywood Hogan.
Wait, could we be team Generation X? Were they like the bad boys?
Degeneration.
Degeneration. That's what it is. I just know like brief flashes of like early like 2000s wrestling, I believe, or late 90s wrestling. And I just remember like the crouch chop was like the big thing.
Yeah.
In like elementary school for some reason. I don't know.
That was a thing. Yeah.
That was a thing though that happened.
Looking back on it, it's like I can't believe that like that was a thing that was on TV.
Yeah.
Still
is on TV.
Yeah, but like I feel like that just wouldn't really fly as much in today's.
I don't know about that, but all right.
Yeah.
So we're done from teams. Let's talk at cards. Let's try to think. Let's rack our brains and figure out what's going to break out. Like what's going to be the breakout card of PT Aether Revolt. Now, it doesn't have to be an Aether Revolt card. It could be a card that suddenly has a chance to shine since it's no longer oppressed by Mama Emrakul and Snuggler's Copter and Reflector Mage.
I really thought you just said Snuggler's Copter.
Oh, I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I did. It was intentional.
I was like, I kind of looked at him weird. Like,
that sounds so much more adorable now. It's just like,
well, he's been
definitely not
neutered.
ban-worthy if it's called Snuggler's Copter.
Yeah, of course.
He's been neutered, so.
Aw.
Is it like a 2/2 now instead of a 2/2?
Well, he's just not in the
That would
format
probably
anymore.
be fair.
He's kind of just dead, actually.
He's an outside copter now.
Yeah, he's an outside copter now.
He went all over the format. He's an outside copter now.
So anyone got any like hot tips?
Man,
some sweet cards that are like
Elder Deep Fiend.
Okay.
I think that's a card that, again, gaining steam. It has applications in a number of decks, and I think you'll see it used in some pretty creative ways. I think like going over the top seems like a good way, especially like the black green decks. Like going over the top of them seems like a good way to try and like win, since they're staying fairly low to the ground. We don't see a lot of Ishkanaz, that sort of thing. I like something that's playing some Elder Deep Fiends.
I think that card was really held down by Emrakul as well. Like
literally,
like held under the water, like Emrakul's like a big bully.
Yeah.
Oh, what you breathing there?
where's the money, Lebowski?
Oh man. Yeah.
Oh man, twice.
Would that even do anything though?
Great.
Like if you're holding it underwater, it can probably breathe underwater.
It's fine.
Right?
It's probably
like
okay,
octopus.
but
It's like it's like what are you doing? Like okay.
it's still probably demeaning
it's
though.
less an octopus and more like War of the Worlds beak monster. But
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna go with Inspiring Statuary because that card seems like it could be broken. I don't know what's gonna. No, I don't know if maybe there's like some kind of weird Metalwork Colossus deck that goes in. I don't know, but all I know is that card is just begging to be busted. So that's a card that we haven't really seen too much of yet.
does cast Ulamog's index where you wouldn't expect it.
That's very true.
I think like it's interesting because we have some okay mana rocks in this format. Cultivator's Caravan being the one that really sees the most play. But like Statuary is dangerous, and I think like a lot of people, it's the kind of card that I could back you on because it seems hard to evaluate. Which would be a good reason. Like, why haven't we seen it yet? Well, because it's hard to evaluate.
Yeah.
So, but if a team does break it, you're right. They could break it hard.
It's
break
one of those. It's one of those cards that like it looks good, but you can't really figure out where it goes. And then once you see the deck, you're like, "Oh, why couldn't we figure that out?" You're like, like, "Oh, it's so obvious."
It's like you ever play Banjo-Kazooie and you're missing like one puzzle piece to get to the next world, and it's like, "Oh, it's an Inspiring Statuary."
Let me just throw the statue, and I saw this.
Don't throw anything at me.
I'm not gonna,
Especially not any Inspiring
Yeah,
Statuary.
a theoretical. So I saw this. I know Saffron Olive posted something on Twitter today saying about Inspiring Statuary with confirmed suspicions.
Yeah,
That's just the new hotness, right? Like,
it's
just like add three
I think he
clues.
compared it to Mana Drain, if I'm not mistaken.
my
It's just,
God.
it's just 2 mana counter, and then you get 3 Mind Stones.
My brain
Like,
went dumb for a minute.
I don't know if that's actually good,
I
but
don't
that's
care. I want to
awesome.
play it. I love confirmed suspicion.
Yeah,
That's
I'm like
awesome.
you didn't have to say anything to get Mike to play Confirmed Suspicion already.
Yeah, I've already cast that card. Man, it's like confirmed suspicions. Untap, cast my Jace. Leave up counter magic. We're doing it. It's funny that card. I think is just hard for people to even like look. So like my wife, who likes to just draft formats. She drafted that card this last week, and she was like, I don't know if I play this. I'm like, you just play it. And she's like, well, I don't have a lot of artifacts. I'm like, you're misreading the card. Like, there's one artifact. So I said, it just taps for mana. And she was like, oh, and we had in our team draft, she had that card. And it was like, okay. And then she was like casting turn 4 like Ajani's, which of course she had an Ajani in her deck, so there's that.
Yeah,
but like once she understood that, like, no, this is just a mana rock, and make sure like your even the limited format, your servos mana, mirrors, essentially like mana mirror, then like, yeah, that deck or that card gets scary. So yeah, I'll be interested to see. And like, maybe that means that reverse engineer is also really good then.
Yeah.
If you find the deck that does that, because the card that's the improvised draw 3 cards.
Oh yeah.
So like the deck that wants to do that also wants to just cascade spells into each other. So it feels like 2 mana draw 3s are pretty good.
Yeah, there's been a serious lack of, and I forget the name of it, but what's the improvised counterspell, the mana leak?
Metallic Rebuke.
Yeah, like seems like I thought that card was awesome when I saw the
I
spoiler.
think it is
Nobody's
still
played it yet, so like, yeah, these cards like they seem like super powerful, and I think we just haven't seen the right shell for it yet, and it could be something that breaks out of the Pro Tour.
I can give you that.
I have no idea. As far as like, there's things I want to say that I already feel like if there was something there, like people would have already tried it. Like,
I think you're overestimating the Star City Open metagame.
because like, so off of Inspiring Stature, right, another card that I want to say is like Cryptolith, right? Like, I don't know if there's an actual deck there, but it feels like that's a powerful card that could be unexplored. Or like Zulaport Cutthroat, when maybe those go in the same deck, but like that's also another card that
Sam Black will be there, so there's a chance.
But it's another, like, so Zulaport Cutthroat is like another card that can exist within a deck because Emrakul isn't in the format. You can play like a sacrifice-based deck theoretically, without having to worry about sacrificing your entire board. And we do have creatures that are sacrifice outlets that do exist within the format. So like, I want to say one of those cards, but again, it feels like no one's explored that, no one's tried that, and maybe it's just not good enough. So I don't know. I want to say like one of those cards. It feels like there's a lot of untapped potential, and they did powerful things in the past, and it feels like they still have potential to do powerful things. I would probably say Zulaport Cutthroat over Cryptolith, right? Just for the sheer fact that you already have Statuary, so it's like, it feels like if people are going to try to play one or the other, they might lean towards Statuary more than Cryptolith, right?
I'll add another card to that. I'm going to add Catacomb Sifter. Yeah. Because like that card goes really well with it. And Catacomb Sifter being a 2-for-1 is already great. It's obviously great with Cryptolith, right? But the Eldrazi Scion like is mana ramp, but also like Fatal Push fuel, which I think is pretty important. And there's some cards you would play in that deck like out of the sideboard. Like remember older versions played like Fleshbag Marauder. Well, now we have this like the target when it enters the battlefield, the Wasteland Strangler variant that you
triggers off a revolt.
Trigger revolt. Well, your Scion triggers revolt. You know what I mean? So I think if that deck exists, it's a little bit different from the black green aggro deck that feels more like Aristocrats. Then yeah, I think that Catacomb Sifter also sees some gain. See, yeah. We did it. We pulled some cool cards out.
Yeah. Some gems from standards previous. So,
and we even included an Aether Revolt card. So we really hit the spread.
But I'm excited. I hope that it's not. It would be so terrible that if we had these bans that are meant to shake up the format, if it was just like a 2-deck format. So,
I don't think it would stay that way. They do have an escape valve now.
They do, obviously, but it's still like another 5 weeks out from where we would see that escape valve. You know what I mean?
Breaking case of Splitter Twin.
Yeah. So we'll see. Now, there is a bit of a friendly wager involved with the Pro Tour, a Chipotle bet, as it were. I'm not participating in this because I don't want to buy a lot of people Chipotle. Now, in theory, I could win.
You just need to be on the right side.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
I also need to, always get all the right lottery numbers to win. I understand this.
That's all you have to do.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah.
Buy only the scratch-offs that are winners, clearly. Yes. Easy to do.
Duh.
Yeah, but I'll let you guys explain this.
So myself and Jordan, as we mentioned before, former host, are fairly certain that some variant of Jeskai Saheeli, or we say Saheeli combo, is going to win the entire Pro Tour. So Dave has taken the field. decks that do not feature Saheeli Rai and Felidar Guardian. And Jordan and I have taken the combo. So if the combo wins, Dave buys us each burritos. And if the field wins, we buy Dave burritos.
So I'm ready to get one barbacoa burrito, and I'm not sure what I want the other one to be. Like, maybe I'll go with the chorizo.
I'm fairly certain it doesn't matter what you want it to be when you're ordering it for myself or Jordan. So
we'll
you'll
see.
take our order, sir, and you'll like it. I just think that the guard. I'm going to say right here, I don't think the Guardian combo is too strong to be banned. They did really well this week, but I still think you're seeing that people are working on new technology to beat it. And in both tournaments, you've seen a huge number of people playing the deck. Which also obviously fuels how well it does, like how well it ranks. So, but I think it's certainly beatable. I don't fear it, and I don't know that it's a boogeyman just yet. That being said, that the decks with those shells are exactly what Pro Tour players love to do, and that is why I'm fairly confident it's going to it's going to take it down.
I do think it's obviously a good deck, and I think it'll see a decent amount of play. We may even see a new shell for it that we haven't seen yet. So who knows? But
like 3 crunchy taco shells.
Do they even have those at Chipotle?
They have crunchy tacos. Mm-hmm. Yep.
I don't know. I've never ordered tacos.
Maybe I'll have you order those for me just so you can experience.
Yeah, why not?
You won't get to eat them. You'll just get to watch me
experiment.
But
Try something new.
After you buy me my burrito, you can buy yourself that.
Okay. All right.
No, but I just think that's obviously going to be public enemy number one. I think for people that are playing in the Pro Tour, like everybody's going to have a plan for the combo. Everybody's going to have tested against it, and likely multiple good versions of the deck. So I think everybody's going to be prepared for it now. Maybe it's just too good and it'll overpower all that, but I think
people were still prepared for it the last 2 weeks as well. It wasn't a surprising deck.
I just think it's different, man. It's different when it's a Pro Tour versus a Star City Open. You know that.
It is, but I think there's just as high of a chance at a Pro Tour of them finding the perfect build of it.
Sure.
So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll report back.
It's a fun bet.
It is.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's harmless. And
we got to cast next week, so we will let you know the results. Or I guess you already know the results.
I mean, so the title of next week's episode has to be like Mike Mike eats a burrito or Dave gets a burrito, right?
Yeah.
Like that's just
Do I have to eat it on air?
Oh man, that'd be the best actually.
That sounds like terrible audio. People eating, they love that, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, probably not eat it on air. But
People
we'll
eat
take
that up.
pictures. We'll take pictures.
It's the sweet sound of victory. Hey, you took pictures for me last week.
Yeah, we did. I got to put those up. You guys are in for a treat.
Yeah. Well, I was not, unfortunately, in for a treat.
Yeah. It involves the wager that Walking Ballista was not worth anyone's
It wasn't
time.
so much a wager. It was just
wrong.
wrong.
I made a very strong statement
About
and
eating,
it was very, very wrong.
eating a particular piece of headwear. So. Anyway, let's move on to the wrap up here. So we have Pro Tour Aether Revolt in Dublin, Ireland. Coverage begins 9 a.m. local.
I'm really glad that you clarified. We've had so much confusion this episode.
Yep, 4 a.m. Eastern time. We also have again Star City Games Regional Championships. They're going to be modern, and then there's going to be a modern IQ at Comic Town the next day on Sunday. So again, all those events are going to be the regionals and the IQ are going to be at. Available at the Comic Town Facebook page. So you also have plenty of ways to be able to contact us. So we have, of course, Twitter. It's just your end step. If you add us, it's at your end step. This is a cute little joke. And then we also have Facebook. It's just facebook.com/at your end step. We also have, of course, a website, it's at yourinstep.com. And then we also have a Gmail account, which is at yourinstep@gmail.com. You can download us via iTunes or get us through the Google Play music store. We're also on MTG Cast. It's a great place to find a whole bunch of Magic podcasts. So you can go there and find your brand new favorite. Second favorite. We understand. Second favorite Magic podcast. But that's going to be everything for us this week. We do appreciate your time, and we'll catch you next week. You have a great one. Bye.